Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into some of the most important concepts you need to know in the One Piece universe. Whether you're a newcomer or need a quick refresher, this video will break down everything from pirates, DevilFruits, marines to secret government agencies. Let's get started. So buckle up because we're about to sail into one of the craziest worlds ever created. Alright, let's talk about the world itself. Picture this. It's a huge planet covered mostly by ocean. Think of Earth, but way more water everywhere. Now here's where it gets interesting. There are two massive things that shape this world. First, we have the Grand Line. This is basically the most dangerous ocean ever. It's where all the best treasures are hidden, but it's also where you'll find the deadliest stuff trying to kill you. Second, there's the Red Line. Imagine a giant wall of land that goes all the way around the planet, like a massive belt around the world. These two things split the world into 4 different seas: East Blue, West Blue, North Blue, and South Blue. Each one has its own people, cultures, and stories. And trust me, each sea is totally different from the others. Now let's talk about what everyone's really after: the ultimate treasure. So the whole story revolves around pirates. But not just any pirates. These guys are all chasing after something called the One Piece. What is it? Nobody really knows. It's this legendary treasure that's supposed to be hidden at the very end of the Grand Line on an island called Laugh Tale. Here's the crazy part. Whoever finds this treasure becomes the Pirate King. That's like the ultimate title in this world. And let me tell you, everyone wants it. Good pirates, bad pirates, crazy pirates. They're all sailing around trying to find this thing. It's basically the biggest treasure hunt in anime history. But wait, it's not just pirates out there. There's also the good guys. Well, sort of good guys. Meet the world government. Think of it like a super alliance of over 170 countries all working together. Pretty big deal, right? Their military? That's the Marines. These are the guys trying to stop all the pirates and keep peace. But here's the thing. They're not always the good guys you'd expect. Sometimes they do questionable stuff. The top Marines are called admirals. And there's one fleet admiral who's basically the boss of all Marines. These people are insanely powerful. But here's where it gets really messed up. There are these people called world nobles or celestial dragons. They're basically super rich, super evil people who live on top of the Red Line and pretty much control everything. And trust me, you're gonna hate these guys. Okay, now let's talk about the coolest part. DevilFruits. These are mysterious fruits that give you crazy superpowers. Sounds awesome, right? Well, there's a catch. If you eat one, you can never swim again. In a world that's mostly ocean, that's pretty risky. But the powers are so cool that people still eat them anyway. There are 3 types. First up, Paramecia fruits. These give you weird and wild abilities. Like you could stretch your body like rubber, or control gravity, or turn anything into stone. Next, Zoan fruits. These let you transform into animals. You could become a leopard, a dragon, or even mythical creatures. And finally, Logia fruits. These are the rarest and most powerful. You can literally become natural elements like fire, ice, or lightning. Imagine shooting lightning bolts or turning your whole body into lava. But wait, there's more. There's another power system called Haki. Think of Haki as like spiritual energy that comes from within. It's not from eating a fruit. It's something you can train and develop yourself. There are 3 types, and they're all pretty awesome. First, observation, Haki. This lets you sense other people around you, almost like having superpowered instincts. You can dodge attacks you can't even see coming. Second, armament Haki. This one's like invisible armor. You can make your attacks stronger and defend yourself better. Plus, it's the only way to hurt those Logia users I mentioned earlier. And third, Conqueror's Haki. This is the rarest one. Only special people have it, and it lets you knock out weak enemies just by flexing your willpower. Yeah, you can literally knock people out with your mind. Oh, and here's something really cool about this world. It's not just humans everywhere. You've got giants who are like 50 feet tall. There are fishmen who are basically people mixed with fish, and mermaids with beautiful fishtails. Then there are tiny dwarves, people with super long arms, legs, or necks. And these awesome furry people called minks who are like walking, talking animals. There are so many different races, each with their own cultures and amazing histories. But here's the sad part. Just like in our world, there's a lot of discrimination and racism between these different groups. Some races get treated really badly just because they're different. The good news? One Piece shows us that these differences make the world more amazing, not scary. But don't worry, not everyone's okay with how messed up the government is. There's this group called the Revolutionary Army, and they're led by this super mysterious guy named Monkey D. Dragon. Yeah, that's an awesome name. These guys have one goal: take down the corrupt world government and get rid of those horrible celestial dragons once and for all. They're fighting for something really important. They want all races to be treated equally, and they want every nation to be free from oppression. Basically, they're the rebels fighting the evil empire, and they're absolutely badass. Now here's one of the biggest mysteries in the entire series. Something called the Will of D. You know how I mentioned Monkey D. Dragon? Notice that middle initial? Well, there are a bunch of super important characters who all have that mysterious D in their names. And here's the crazy part, nobody really knows what it means. It's like this inherited destiny or willpower that gets passed down through bloodlines. People with the D seem to show up whenever something huge is about to happen in the world. They're like destined to change everything. The world government is actually terrified of people with the D because they know these people are going to cause massive revolutions. But what does the D actually stand for? That's still one of the series' biggest unsolved mysteries. Alright, let's talk about something really fun. Bounties. So the world government puts bounties on pirates' heads, right? It's supposed to be like, hey, this person is dangerous, here's money if you catch them. But here's the hilarious part. Pirates absolutely love their bounties. Instead of being scared, they're like, yes, my bounty went up. It's basically become a competition. Pirates brag about their bounties like they're high scores in a video game. The higher your bounty, the more respect you get from other pirates. So, the government's trying to scare people, but they accidentally created the world's weirdest bragging contest. The bounty numbers show how dangerous the government thinks you are, but for pirates, it's just proof of how awesome and famous they've become. Now let's talk about some of the coolest and most mysterious stuff in this world. First up, Sky Islands. Yeah, you heard that right. There are actual islands floating in the sky. They're held up by special clouds and have their own unique cultures up there. Imagine sailing through the clouds instead of the ocean. Then we have Sea Kings. These are absolutely massive sea monsters. We're talking creatures the size of mountains swimming around in the ocean. They mostly hang out in this area called the Calm Belt, which makes traveling super dangerous. But here's the really big mystery. Something called the Void Century. The world government literally erased 100 years of history from the world. Nobody's allowed to know what happened during that time. The only clues left are these ancient stone tablets called poneglyphs, and guess what? Reading them is illegal and punishable by death. Oh, and every pirate crew has their own unique flag called a Jolly Roger. It's like their team logo that shows what they're all about. This world just keeps getting crazier. And if you thought that was intense, wait until you hear about the ancient weapons. There are 3 legendary weapons with the most terrifying names ever: Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus. And get this, they're so powerful they could literally destroy the entire world. Nobody knows where they are, but here's the scary part. Their locations are somehow connected to that Void Century I just mentioned, and to finding the One Piece itself. So not only are people racing to become Pirate King, but they might accidentally stumble upon weapons that could end everything. The world government is desperately trying to make sure nobody finds these things, which just makes you wonder, what exactly are they so afraid people will discover? But let's talk about the real stars of the show, the Straw Hat Pirates. These guys are led by Monkey D. Luffy. Yeah, remember that D we talked about? He's got it too, and he's absolutely determined to become the Pirate King. Here's what makes this crew so special. They're not just pirates working together, they're like a family. Each member has their own crazy dream they're chasing, and they all have unique skills that make the team amazing. But the best part? The friendship between these guys is unbreakable. They'd literally do anything for each other, and that's what makes them so powerful. They represent everything One Piece is about: following your dreams, being free to live how you want, and going on the adventure of a lifetime with your best friends. Trust me, you're gonna fall in love with this crew. Meito are the named famous swords that every swordsman dreams of wielding. Think of Zoro's Wado Ichimonji. That's a perfect example of a Meito. These aren't just any ordinary blades. They're treasured weapons with incredible rarity and legendary histories. What makes them special? It's the combination of their exceptional craftsmanship and the famous warriors who've wielded them throughout history. Each Meito carries the legacy of its previous owners, making them both powerful weapons and priceless artifacts. Next, we have the Calm Belt. And trust me, the name is totally misleading. This isn't some peaceful vacation spot. The Calm Belt is a deadly, windless stretch of ocean that surrounds the Grand Line. What makes it so dangerous? No wind means no movement for sailing ships, but that's just the beginning. These waters are absolutely infested with sea kings, massive sea monsters that can crush entire ships without breaking a sweat. It's nature's own prison wall around the most dangerous sea in the world. Now let's talk about the big players, the Yonko. These are the 4 strongest pirate emperors who rule over the latter half of the Grand Line, known as the New World. We're talking about pirates so powerful they're essentially untouchable, controlling vast territories and commanding enormous fleets. They're like the final bosses of the pirate world, and crossing paths with any of them usually means you've either made it to the top tier of pirates or you're about to become fish food. The Warlords, also known as the Shichibukai, were a unique system where the world government basically said, if you can't beat them, recruit them. These were powerful pirates who received government pardons in exchange for working with the Marines. Sounds like a good deal, right? Well, not exactly. The system was eventually disbanded due to massive corruption. Turns out giving pirates government immunity doesn't always work out as planned. Speaking of government operations, we have Cipher Pol, the world government's secret agencies that specialize in collecting information and assassination. These aren't your typical Marines. They operate in the shadows, handling the dirty work that the government doesn't want traced back to them. Think of them as the world government's personal ninja force, complete with secret techniques and ruthless efficiency. Finally, Royal Guards are the elite military forces responsible for protecting royalty and important government figures. These are typically the strongest fighters in any kingdom, handpicked for their loyalty and combat abilities. They're often the last line of defense between threats and their rulers, and they take that responsibility very seriously. And there you have it, some of the most important concepts that shape the One Piece world. From legendary swords that carry the weight of history, to government conspiracies operating in the shadows, these concepts form the backbone of the series' complex political and power structure. And if you want more One Piece breakdowns like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Until next time, keep sailing toward your dreams.